welcome everyone that are tuned in. We have a very special guest today, and I'm so interested and excited to introduce you to her. So, if you just tuned in, hold tight. I hope that you had a blessed week. And again, always put your comments in the chat and, greet our guest as our special guest for today. All right, we will introduce Ms. Giselle to the stage. She is a TV producer, and she will definitely tell you more about her in a bit. So here she goes. Without further ado,
Hi.
hi Giselle, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for making the time to come on tonight. We greatly appreciate you coming on. And briefly, can you tell us your name again and who you are?
I am Giselle McKenzie, executive producer of almost 30-year run cable TV show Mystic Vibes. Mystic Vibes airs on the CAN TV network, cable channel 19 in Chicago. We also live stream during the scheduled air date and time. We've been live streaming throughout the world for about 2 years now. So all you have to do is go on my Facebook page, group, Mystic Vibes TV group, and www.cantv.org, and check out the live stream during the scheduled air date and time.
Great, thank you. See, she's doing everything. So before we get into it, I usually like to open up with a little word of prayer before we get started and get into it. So do you mind?
No.
All right, let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, just want to give you thanks for allowing us to use this platform once again to showcase people who are doing great things in their community, in their space. We ask that people who are tuned in will be inspired to do more and to do great things where they are. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, thank you once again for telling us who you are and just giving us this lovely introduction as well to yourself. And our viewers will greatly appreciate it as well. They usually come in and pop in and they hail us up and give us great greetings and so forth and make us feel so warm. So before we get into what you just talked about, being a TV producer, I want to kind of go back a little bit. Can you tell us where you're from and just a little bit about, you growing up?
Okay. I was born at Providence Hospital in Chicago, Illinois, of a Jamaican father, and my mother, she's from Selma, Alabama.
Okay.
In the 70s, I'm dating myself. Me and several of my siblings, we lived in Jamaica. We went to school in Jamaica because my dad wasn't too keen in the school system up here.
Wow.
He wanted to expose us to his culture, even though in the house was a lot of Jamaican extended family and and so forth, and aunties and uncles, what have you. So I consider myself a Jamaican American.
Yeah.
I went to school at Kingston, Shortwood practicing. They call it practicing there. I know the teachers' college was on the same property, but in the back. And then for high school, I went to a very small secondary school called Charlton High School.
Wow.
Yeah. I rode the JOS bus, the Golden bus, every day, commuting to and from school. We lived in Stony Hill.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
We lived in St. Andrew, you couldn't tell me. You couldn't tell whether I was born in Chicago or what.
Oh, wow.
Ding ding like the other kids did. You know what I'm saying?
It was a yachty.
I played Daddy Shandy.
What?
The Rounders. I took the first year that we moved to Jamaica. I took the common entrance, but didn't pass.
Okay.
I still had to get acclimated to the academic curriculum in Jamaica. But then a few months later, back then they had the extension exam. So
Mm.
you took an exam where you could still qualify to go to the private secondary schools in Jamaica. So that's
Okay.
how I passed that one, and
Good.
I ended up in going to Charlton High School. We wore the pink and white uniforms, the girls did,
Yeah.
and then I excel academically
Wow.
because I skipped from first form,
Mm-hmm.
jumped all the way to third form. And I took they had to call this another exam called a JSC, the Jamaica School Certificate.
I
Where
heard
you
about it.
pick-
Yeah.
yeah, where you pick different subjects. So I have a JSC subject in religious knowledge, history, and
Mm-hmm.
English. And when I was about to take the O levels, that's why we had to come back. I lived in Jamaica
Yeah. I was
during
about to ask you, how long were you in Jamaica for?
6 years during the Manley period. Michael Manley was prime minister.
Yeah.
That's when the political violence and all that was going on. So my family had to abruptly leave in
Okay.
1977.
Wow.
I've been back and forth, and
Yeah.
they never left me. But, I used to have I have an American passport, but I used to have a Jamaican passport because I qualified it because of
Yeah.
Jamaican parentage. I know
Mm-hmm.
I have to go and renew it, and I would love to renew it very soon.
That's cool. That's something I probably need to look into for my kids because
Uh huh.
their dad is Jamaican,
They're
and I'm like,
qualified.
it'll be nice if they had dual,
They're
passports.
qualified.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
I can get one too for myself too, because both my parents are Jamaican.
Up to the grandchildren.
Right. Oh, okay. That's
To the
great.
grandchildren. So yeah.
Wow. So that's an interesting fact. I
Mhm.
think you kind of briefly told us the first time we met, and we met. And just for those who are just tuned in who don't know, we met at the Jamaican Festival.
The Jamaica Family Day in
Yes,
Evanston.
the Jamaica Family Day, back in August for Independence Day in the park, James Park.
Mhm.
And I think that's where we first met, and we briefly kind of talked. But I know there was a whole lot going on at that time. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's a great fun fact that you were in Jamaica. You went to school in Jamaica for 6 years.
And I must say, I finished my high school, and when we came back to Chicago, Unity High School,
Which
all
high
girls
school?
Unity. It was an all girls Catholic school on the
Oh.
south side of Chicago on 81st and Prairie.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple of Jamaican, not too many, but a couple of Jamaican girls that were there too. So the transition wasn't too bad.
Okay. Yeah.
With a thick accent.
You had that thick accent.
And I remember the girls. I used to hate for my teacher to call on me to answer a question because when I speak, you hear the little, sniggles or whatever.
Yeah.
Once she told me, she said I sounded like the Folgers coffee lady.
Oh my goodness. Kids can be so cruel at times. Believe me, I went through some teasing as well as a kid. So it was one of the things that I used to get teased on was my gap, my space. So I used to get teased over that, and then my last name Fisher. And at the time I was going to school, they had the Fisher flavors nuts.
Yeah.
So they would always sing the jingle, call me Fisher Price. I'm like, but kids do silly things sometimes. And it's funny, those same people that tease me, we're friends. We're friends on Facebook and Instagram, like nothing.
Okay.
So one question that kind of leads into our questions for tonight. When was the moment when you decided that you wanted to work with TV production? Or was it initially TV production? Did you have something else before you got into that?
Well, one thing I have to add too, after I graduated from high school, I joined the Navy.
Okay.
Joined the Navy, and I was stationed in Little Creek Amphibious Base, Norfolk, Virginia.
Uh-huh.
There were a lot of concerts. you know, R&B. They used to be come in that area, and I met so many R&B singers. My first mentor in entertainment was Roger Troutman. Roger Troutman from Zach. Younger generation, California Love. I guess that song he collabed with Tupac.
Oh, okay, got it. Yep.
Yeah, I met him in 1980.
Okay.
And, you know, me and my friend, my girlfriend, you know, my buddy, my Navy buddy.
Yeah.
I was always curious about music because I love music regardless of the genre. It's good to me. I love it. So I was very inquisitive as far as how do you make a record? You know, how does it get played on the radio? And, you know, I was exposed to things like sound check.
Okay, wow.
Or how labels operate, because he was more than willing. You know, he passed away about 20-something years ago. But he was more than willing to share that, you know, with me. So I would consider him my first mentor. Now in Chicago, there used to be a lot of before cable was so popular. They were called the UHF channels.
Yeah, I know.
And you know, on the weekend there were a lot of local programming that had a format with the different communities in Chicago. The Latino community, the Filipino community, you know, and so forth. And I was watching one of those programs with my father. When my father was Herman McKenzie, and a lot of people consider him the godfather of the Jamaican American community here in Chicago.
Okay, what was his name again?
Herman McKenzie.
Okay.
He was one of the co-founders of the Jamaican American Association.
Wow.
So I'm watching this and I said, well, Daddy, how come we don't have any local programming spotlighting the Caribbean community here in Chicago? You know, we weren't as big as New York, but you know, we had a substantial audience. Whether it was, you know, whether there are a lot of them in Evanston or whatever, we were here.
Right.
So that came in my mind. You know, that was the first seed planted. And then during the 90s, I'm fast forwarding. During the 90s, I started working on a lot of movie and television production sets.
Okay.
As an extra or a big player.
Wow.
And I was always interested. I wasn't interested in becoming the star. So I would sit at these movie sets or television, you know, these TV studio sets and watch behind the scenes.
Right.
And watch behind the scenes. So as a gentleman that I met, I was working on a set of the remake of Miracle on 34th Street. This was actually not here. And I met a gentleman by the name of Harrison. He was at CARE TV.
Okay.
And, you know, he hosted his own show. He had a public affairs show. And he was looking for a host or a guest host. To pick the subject or whatever. And he asked if I could do it. I'm like, huh? You could do it. I'm like, it's my show. I'm not going to let you say it. Okay. He said, you pick the subject. So I said, okay, I'm going to talk about what I know, Jamaica.
Yeah.
So I had links because of my daddy to high-profile people in the Jamaican community in the city. So the first person that I chose was, I remember, you remember Chucky, Isaiah Ferguson? They said Selassie Festival every year.
I'm sure I would know if I look it up. I was like, yeah, I know. Because she probably would know too. Because like you, I listen to a lot of genre of music from like when it comes to reggae, from 50 on up to early 2000.
Okay.
You know, and I love it. R&B, hip hop, gospel, everything.
That's right.
Rock, light rock, you know, classical, jazz, Latin. I grew up in Brooklyn, so you know, everything. Everything is around. I'm exposed to everything and hear a lot of different things. So like the way you're talking is like I can identify with that because when it comes to music and genres. Like, if it got a good beat, good tone, I'm listening.
Okay.
I don't discriminate. Yeah.
Well, Isaiah Ferguson, the late Isaiah Ferguson, we called him Chucky. He had one of the first. He had, I think, the first little shop. It was on 79th Street off of Drexel. And he sold music and the Rasta Cams and you know. And so I asked him to come on the show. And the discussion wasn't about music. The discussion was our impact as Jamaican Americans here in the city of Chicago.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So that was, I think that was back in 93,
Okay.
93, 94.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had people telling me, encouraging me, said, well, if you do that, you might as well have your own show. My brother, one of my brothers, Herman, and then a friend of mine, Herbert Ferguson, encouraged me, whatever. And then during the same time now, the movie Marked for Death was released. Never Marked for Death with Steven Seagal.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, our good old friend Steven Seagal.
Yeah,
Yes.
that movie was released around that time period.
Uh-huh.
And, toward
Where
the
he beat up all the
90s,
Jamaicans.
yeah, but toward the 90s, the Jamaicans, had a bad reputation as far as, in drug deal or whatever. But the images,
Right.
whatever, were not too favorable, not only with Jamaicans, but the Rastafarians or anybody wearing dreadlocks. Had a bad depiction to me. I said, no, that's not what this is about.
Right.
So I decided in May of 1995 to take classes at KNTV. KNTV KNTV has been in existence for 40 years, or 41 years this year.
Wow.
And it's selling for the community producers who want to showcase whatever they want to, not whatever they want to show, but
Right.
things that mainstream media ignores. And my culture was something that mainstream media ignored. So I started taking classes in studio production. Because it's not about, when you go to KNTV, it's not about you being the star or being the talent. You're there to learn studio production.
Right.
So I became certified in 1995 in studio production. And then I became certified in editing and field production. Now I'm a technical director, for some of the shows at KNTV.
Okay. How long did it take to be certified in those areas?
Excuse me?
How long did it take to be certified in those areas that you mentioned?
Where the classes were very fast paced.
Okay.
About 2 months, but then you have the advantage of taking workshops or practice sessions.
Okay.
At KNTV, so you could be more proficient in your skills. So
wow.
Yeah. So from there, after I got certified, I would become more proficient working on other producer shows as a camera person, or working audio, or working computer graphics.
Wow.
Mystic Vibes. About a month after I became certified, that's when I did my first show, Mystic Vibes. I was the interviewer.
Okay.
There was a Rastafarian elder called Brother Gabriel. It was a 30-minute sit down in studio talk interview, and that was the premiere of the show in July of 1995.
Wow.
And then I'm like, okay, what's going to be my next show? What am I talking about? What's the next topic? What have you? And I found out that Ziggy Marley, that's when he was Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers.
Okay.
That's when I discovered they were going to be in the Chicago area, out there in Tinley Park. So I said, you know what? I'm going to interview him.
There you go. Speak
I
it.
had a lot of naysayers. No, you can't do that. Ziggy Marley don't talk to nobody. I said, because nobody asked him.
Right. There you go.
I said, I figured because nobody thought about asking him.
Right.
So, I educated myself on how to get a artist to come on the show or what have you.
Right.
The Melody Makers was signed with Elektra at the time. So I got a hold of Elektra, and I wrote, emailed my proposal, what have you, and then I got permission to do Ziggy Marley. And then
Sweet. I know you was excited.
The first artist that came on the show, and then the floodgates just opened.
Wow. That's amazing. Sometimes that's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it just takes one and they just come on in like that.
But back in the 90s, there weren't too many media outlets as far as television.
Right.
But there was one. There was a couple, but there was one in particular in New York. I think he's the godfather of reggae being featured on television. What was his name? Chan? He was based in Jamaican. Based in New York. And I think that aired on cable up there. And it enjoyed, a lot of success for years. And then there's a guy, Roger Steffens, on the West Coast. That had
where on the West Coast, he said?
Yeah, I think it was in California somewhere, based in California. That had a television show that featured reggae artists.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I just remember growing up in Brooklyn. Reggae was a hot thing in the 80s, and I mean it still is.
Yeah.
80s and 90s, it was hot. You hear it on the radio, whether it was like I'm trying to think of the radio station, the hip hop station in Brooklyn at the time. I know it was Ed Lover or something, I can't remember, but
WBLS?
I think so. Like I can't remember, but I just remember anytime they play like a reggae song, that was it. And then I know at one point it felt as though there was a reggae station that sometimes we would tune into and get. But yeah, when it came to that genre of music, because my parents are Jamaican, I had a lot of family there. We would get together plenty of times Saturday night, the basement parties, and they brought out their records and set and big sound system, and it was booming. We had a great time. It was mostly like family and like close friends.
That's right.
We would get together and just have a good time, cook and eat and be merry and all of those things.
Well, that was pretty much my exposure to reggae music. Here in the States, whatever, the family or extended family, they play their music. There was a club I was too young though, but back in the early 70s called The Village.
Where was that?
It was a little club, like a little bar setting.
Okay.
Where, I think that was the only place that Jamaicans could get together and listen to reggae. I'm talking about our parents' generation.
Right,
this
okay.
Is 10 days before the Wild Hair.
Okay.
It's like Exodus opened up. Yeah, there was a little tavern size club. It was on 75th Street. I forgot around that area called The Village. So that's when my parents' generation, they went and they kept up with the latest, the Rocksteady and whatever that was out at that time. Yeah.
Right. That sounds cool. It's like I've heard of The Village. It sounds familiar. Like I think I read it somewhere. I'm like, yeah, that was definitely one of those places that a lot of Caribbean people went to, and that's where they indulged in the culture.
Yes, right.
And you mentioned Wild Hair as well. That's also another hot spot too. Even to this day, where there's a lot of performances, a lot of people come through there, artists come through there, and they perform. And it was also featured in a movie. Love
Love
Jones.
Jones, that's
I
right.
think that's probably the first place I might have seen or heard of it, because again, I grew up in Brooklyn, so when I came to Illinois, it was just like for visits. So there were certain things I probably was not aware of. But yeah, I remember watching Love Jones, and I was like, "Oh, that place looks
Charles,
cool, and it's in
Charles
Chicago."
Cameron.
Yeah,
Charles Cameron was the one singing.
yeah, My Baby or something like that. Yes. Okay. Exactly. So, well, before we continue, I'm gonna showcase some people in the chat. We had Genuine Connection, saying hello, and then we see Mama Fisher who's tuned in, or she's been in. She said, "Blessing to you, my Jamaican sister, Giselle. Great having you, my sister."
Bless,
And
bless.
welcome. Yeah, she welcoming you. And then she said, "Welcome everyone to our live where love, respect, and appreciation is always shown, and God is the center of life." Yeah, we also want to give thanks to those who are listening behind the scenes, our silent listeners who are too shy to say anything in the chat. We welcome you and we thank you for being here and listening. Yeah, so we are here with our good guest, Mrs. Zell. She is a TV producer. And can you tell us the name of the production that you have?
Mystic Vibes TV.
Mystic Vibes TV. So yeah, she was. If you missed it, she was just telling us about some of her growing up in Jamaica. Her dad is Jamaican. Your mom is from where again?
Selma, Alabama.
Sweet Home, Alabama. I mean, your background is definitely rich. You know, just you being able to go to school in Jamaica, get that actual, experience all that culture on your dad's side, and then come here and you feel inspired to highlight that genre of music, that culture, and make good on it. It's great when people uplift their culture and highlight it, and for others to see and be inspired. So it sounds like that is what should I say? That was sound like the turning point of you becoming a TV producer.
You know what the scripture say?
What's that?
Our steps are ordered by the Lord.
Yep, always. Always. Because sometimes you think, oh, no, I'm not going to do this, but sometimes that's what he wants you to do, and you end up doing it anyway.
That's right.
Because it is ordered. You're right. You're right. Thank you, Sister Winnie. She said, blessings, everyone. So yeah, I'm going to move on with some questions because we were just chatting it up. But it was all good stuff. I know we talked about what inspired you to become a TV producer. For those who just missed it, can you briefly tell us again what inspired you to be a TV producer? For those who are just tuning in right now,
to bring my culture in a positive light, a cultural exchange, especially in my group of people, Black people. I think it's important that we learn from each other's culture. It's just not African American,
right?
It's African Jamaican, African Cuban, African Russian. So cultural exchange, the ultimate cultural experience.
Oh yeah, and we appreciate you for doing that. Thanks. And also, can you share? You share some of your experiences working in television production. Okay, do you mind going over that again for those who just tuned in?
My experience?
Yes.
How I took the class at CAN TV, because I was always interested in the entertainment business. And like I said, I was exposed long before I decided to take a class at CAN TV.
Yeah.
Didn't know what part I would play until I went to CAN TV.
Sweet.
And started, learning studio production, television production as a whole too.
Okay.
I've had some mentors. Like I said, Roger Trout was my first. Judy Mowat, that's my spiritual sister.
Okay.
She's one of my mentors. And Jose V. Salazar Jr., the late Jose V. Salazar Jr., he taught me, I was his protege, and he taught me a lot of media literacy.
Uh-huh.
and how to establish continuity,
Wow.
when you're producing the show, and to safeguard the integrity
Mm-hmm.
of the show as far as content, technical aspects, because really what I'm doing is like journalism.
Yeah, it
I was
is.
in high school here in Chicago, I had aspirations of being a journalist. They said I had the good writing skill of being
Mm-hmm.
a journalist. When I was in the Navy, I tried to apply for the journalistic field, but
Didn't
it's
work.
yeah, how they go. Doing
It-
it now,
yep.
you know. I must say too, the format of Mystic Vibes, it's a clean show.
Sweet.
No under the panty business,
Mm-hmm.
no hate speech, no violence,
Sweet. Like
and
anybody can
no
watch.
tabloid. If we do an artist or whatever, I stick strictly to the music.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes artists might want to, especially the reggae artists, the Rasta reggae artists, they might talk about social issues, about stop the violence.
Right.
You need to know about our history, so I allow them to,
Mm-hmm.
speak on those things, but we're not tabloidish.
Right, right.
Business, the false anybody business. So,
You just stick to their business.
yeah.
You're not stirring no trouble up. And I mean, we
No.
kind of do the same thing too over here. We focus on a good, the positive side of things. We don't get into like, controversial stuff. I'm like, social media has done a great job with highlighting that. Let's
Yeah.
just stick to like the good stuff, because
Yeah.
sometimes that's all we need at times.
Right.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, I have a question. Well, how do you stay current with industry trends and technological advancements?
Okay, well, technological advancements come in hand with CAN TV, because through the years, the state of the art, as far as the equipment we use, has risen.
Yeah.
So every time there's an upgrade in the state of the art, we get our training. We about a year ago, we converted to 4K cameras. Our way as far as the studio is concerned, as far as technical directing in the control room.
Right.
Every time there's an upgrade, we get our workshop, and we take practice sessions, we take classes. Now, with artists and musical trends,
yeah,
social media, but also, you get put on as far as the labels are concerned. You get on their mailing list, which, sometimes I'm taken seriously, and sometimes I'm not.
Right.
There are a few artists that they're structured good, like the Marleys,
Yeah.
Marley Spear, or what have you. But there's so many new good artists. I just send an email, and look, this is a show airing almost 30 years.
Right.
It's a home for you to promote any projects, any new music videos, any new albums, what have you. And a lot. Sometimes there's no response, because they look for BT or MTV to show up, and it's not like that all the time. I'm pressed with TV. I'm worldwide TV.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So start off with them. So, start off here. Don't wait for BET.
No, sometimes you just need to, like you said, sometimes you just got to start where you are with what you have. And look, I mean, really and truly, that's what a true artist does. They're going to go with everything that's positive, that's good, because sometimes you just can't wait on just one particular brand to get you, because then you're missing so many other things that's coming your way, missing all those other blessings.
I'm gonna give you an example. Remember the song "Welcome to Jamrock"?
Yeah.
Damian Jr. Gong Marley, now Gongzilla. I had him on my show when he was 15 years old.
Wow.
15 years old before he lost.
Oh, wow.
Nobody know who a Damian Marley was.
So
when the album Welcome to Jamrock was released in 2005. I've been promoting him for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I remember getting the music video from, it was a Tough Garden International
Right.
back in December of 2004.
Mm-hmm.
I premiered it on Mystic Vibes in the spring of 2005. BET, MTV didn't start playing that music video till the summer of 05.
Mm.
So, yeah.
You got to it. Sometimes that's just how it is. That's how it worked out.
Mm-hmm. That's how it worked out.
Wow. And and it's a blessing. That's why it's good to have people like you that highlight, like you said, some cultures, some genres are not really highlighted in the mainstream sometimes as quick as you would think.
That's
so
right.
It's great that they have people like us, like you, that hey, you're doing something good. Come on, let's showcase it.
Mm-hmm.
Let other people know what you're doing. And sometimes it takes that for other people to just kind of pick them up sometimes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So that's why you could never dismiss no one.
That's true.
Never dismiss anyone. And that's me. Like, I don't care, big or small. Look, come on, you're doing something good. Come on, then let's showcase it. Let's talk about it, because you just never know. That's a blessing. Well, question, let me see what I had here. What was the most challenging project you worked on, and how did you overcome those obstacles? Oh, before you begin, I see some people that just tuned in. So we have Sister Winnie. Thank you for tuning in. Genuine Connection. Thank you for tuning in. And my aunt Inez Brown in Florida. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you very much, very much. And to all our silent listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Yes, sorry.
So what was the question?
The question was, what was the most challenging project you worked on, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
Okay. Well, as far as challenging is concerned, I usually have a vision as far as how I want an episode to go and so forth. But some of the challenges that I have gone through is out in the field. I don't do the interviews myself. I'm the technical person. I bring the camera.
Okay.
I'm the one that's supposed to communicate with the label or the artist. Let them know, okay.
Got it.
Use guest hosts. My regular one now is Randolph Coleman of WHBK.
Okay.
There's been a whole host of others throughout the years. Sometimes, I'll pop up.
Right.
Depending on the venue. And, and ask to speak to whoever I need to speak to and let them know, hey, I'm here.
Right.
We have maybe a 5 or 7 minute interview or what have you, but sometimes you have gatekeepers. It's not the artist, I found out. It's the gatekeepers that don't want to take you serious or don't believe you in the position that you're in. There was one brother in the early years that told me, Matthias, if you're a white woman, I'll take you serious.
Wow.
Little challenges like that I've had to go through excuse me, throughout the years.
Right. Wow. That must burn a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm like, who is you to validate me or not? I know what I am. I know what I have. I know I have a quality product to present to the world. So, in other words, you're being shallow. You are shallow. What you looking for? One guy I had to say, are you looking for somebody come out of BET?
Wow.
Or Love and Hip Hop? Is that what you're looking for? I'm a working girl.
Right.
So those
And
are some of the challenges that I've been through. You know, I tell all my hosts,
yes.
if I have a new host that I'm breaking in
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna host for the first time, I said, New Edition has a song, Can You Stand the Rain?
Uh-huh.
Do not take for granted that I just sashay in and I'm, posturing and
Mm-hmm.
Giselle is here. That doesn't happen all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially with artists I've never interviewed before. And then sometimes I have to deal with artists that have been on the show for years, reoccurring artists, but they might have a new PR person or a
Okay.
new tour manager,
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes those can be gatekeepers who become fickle.
Wow. So for those who tuned in, for those who don't know, how would you explain what a gatekeeper is to them? For those who are not familiar with the term.
When you want to talk to the boss has delegated
Mm-hmm.
someone as an in between themselves and the media. Usually gatekeepers that I've encountered have been PR people or road managers or tour managers.
Mm-hmm.
The artists themselves, and a lot of times artists don't know what the hell is going on.
That's true.
They
Yeah.
don't know. They don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm playing my music video because
Mm-hmm.
I want to go through the proper protocol as far as getting permission to do this interview.
Right.
Sometimes you're a gatekeeper of a road manager or you're a gatekeeper of a PR person.
Uh-huh.
That's in their mind, you're not this white looking hippie girl. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because
Yeah.
they're holding down reggae. For real. I think I'm one of the few black women
Wow.
in an executive position as far as promoting reggae.
Yeah, because you don't see it too much.
You
I
don't.
can't say I recall seeing too many females doing what you're doing.
Black women.
Uh-huh.
You don't see too much of us black women
Mm-hmm.
out there.
Yeah.
So they're having them, well, huh? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, B. What you need?
Right. So I tell my first time interviewers, don't let that discourage you.
Yes.
Don't let that discourage you. It's their loss.
Yep. And I mean, you mentioned something not long ago. Hey, Wild Rich, thank you for tuning in. You mentioned something not long ago where you say you have to know who you are.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, whatever position you hold, first thing you have to know who you are, because in whatever field that you're in, you're gonna have people that's going to cast words of doubt on you. And if you're not sure of who you are, those doubts will stick, and you won't be what you are intended to be, what God really wants you to be.
Right.
You'll crumble up, you'll crumble yourself up into a little ball, and your talents will be hidden. So that's the first thing. Any field you're in, you have to know who you are, where you're coming from, and where you're going, because that's the only way you can kind of make it through anything that you set your mind to.
That's right.
So that is definitely a good message to just put out. Yes, you can work hard, you can go to school and get your certifications and so forth, but while you're doing that, you better make sure you know who you are.
That's right.
Because no matter what, they're gonna cast some stones and cast some doubt.
You are.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you'll get that from young. Well, thank you for sharing that. Well, I have another question. How do you collaborate? You kind of touched on it a little bit. How do you collaborate with the writers, the directors, and other crew members? You kind of touched on it a little bit too.
Okay. Well, with Mystic Vibes, I'm the writer.
Oh,
I'm the writer of the show. I direct the show.
Mm-hmm.
My collab would be with probably my crew members.
Okay.
With my crew members, like I said, I put them through a little orientation. I tell
Yes.
them what to expect. I tell them
Mhm.
what not to expect. And, pretty much that's how my collaboration goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. And it sounds like you have a pretty good relationship with your crew members because, with you kind of being at the center of it all, you kind of have to hype them up and encourage them.
Let me say this too.
Yes.
Particularly in the past, and I'm not
Mhm.
mentioning no names.
Uh-huh.
With some of the, I used to have, with some of the females, they used to come to wanna interview.
Mhm.
It's like, if I want to interview a shop owner,
Okay.
sometimes they didn't give me that much enthusiasm to participate in the interview. But if I beat him and I'm there, no, you don't do that to me. I don't play that.
Yeah.
Just like Oprah Winfrey. And she
Mhm.
might not show. One day she might interview Nelson Mandela.
Yep.
The next day she gonna interview a housewife. Every guest and every show is important.
Yeah. High level of respect.
That's right. So I expect all of my hosts and interviewers to come with the same enthusiasm as they would if they know I'm going to interview a big international star.
I agree. And I mean, really and truly, each person has something of great value to share. It doesn't matter where you think they rank or what have you. Everybody has great value to share. There are times when they might share their past, what they came out of. That's a inspiring story in itself that can be very empowering. A great executive, they will have something to share that's equally as of value. So it's great that you kind of encourage them to do that. Like, hey, it don't matter what you think, or you don't cast no judgment. You got to treat everybody with a tremendous amount of care and value because truly they are valuable.
That's right.
That's how I feel too. Sometimes, working in the field that I work in, education field, everybody has different roles. But there's some people that think that, because you work in this part of the school, you're not that important. But I'm like, look, I talk to everybody the same. I don't think no one is more important than the other. Everybody's important. Everybody's a piece of the big puzzle.
That's right.
And you're not complete if one or two pieces are missing. So everybody's important in this thing. Yeah. Well, how do you well, I mean, that's kind of part of answering, but how do you encourage how do you motivate and manage your production team? I mean, you kind of touched on it where you said that, you encourage them to treat everybody with respect and value. How do you hype them up?
Well, when it comes to my crew, I'm looking for them to have a love and respect for the culture first off.
Yes.
They have to understand it and respect it. And particularly, as far as with reggae, you're dealing with a lot of Rastafarians.
Right.
So you have to come to them, whether you're Rastafarian or not, you don't have to come to them circumspect. It's a certain way, that you have to conduct yourself, or a level of respect. You have to have some kind of knowledge.
Yes. So you encourage them to also do research before they go into communicating with your guests?
Yes, they do research. They do research and read the bios. They're aware of the projects that they have out currently, and they incorporate it within that line of question.
Okay. Great. So, with that, there are times when, there can be conflict that arise. How do you approach that? How do you approach resolving issues when they come up within your team?
Well, pretty much, like I said, the issues that I've had in the past,
Mhm.
Are some interviewers that want to come as groupies,
Okay.
and they're not serious. Some they've had probably hidden agendas. They want to see
Mm.
what you do, and then they want to, ask you for your contacts and what have you. But I just tell them that's proprietary information.
Right. We can have that.
Right, but proprietary information. But pretty
Right.
much when I'm out in the field, there's times I have to go
Mhm.
Lone Ranger.
Okay.
you you know. But I'm
Right.
pretty much happy with because I don't have a big crew. It's just me
Okay.
right now and the host.
Okay.
I might, I used to have a bigger crew,
Mhm.
you know. But I said, I really don't need a whole lot of people around me. Because people come around you because they have hidden agendas.
Mhm. And then sometimes it can get so complicated. Sometimes less is more.
Yes.
Yep. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes when you have too many hands in the pot,
Mm-hmm.
it can get a little complicated, and then it's like the whole idea of what you're doing kind of get miscued
Yeah. Yeah.
because everybody has their, like you said, maybe hidden agendas or their idea of how it should be, and then it kind of, it changes up the vibe
And
way
one
too much
thing,
sometimes.
that they must understand, you have to clear your schedule. It's an all-day thing. Because even though I might have the permission to do the interview or what have you, you have to wait for them because they're here to do a show. So they
Right.
have to do sound check. There's a couple of technical things that have to be taken care of. And a lot of times you don't know what time the interview is. You know there's going to be interview because the label or the artist say yeah.
Right.
But sometimes it's before they perform or after they perform.
Okay.
Most likely it's after they perform because they want to preserve their vocals before
Yep.
they on stage. So it's not okay. What time is you? You're supposed to have an exact time and not all the time.
Right.
So
Okay.
be prepared to hang.
Yeah. Sometimes that's how you have to work it.
Just like the major news media. If there's
Right.
breaking news, you see all these journalists outside for hours.
Yes.
They're
Waiting.
outside for hours waiting. They don't dictate when the press conference starts. The PR person or whatever will tell you, okay, we're gonna start here. But there's a lot of hurry up and wait. So you have to wait. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the party, dance, or what have you. But be on standby for anything to happen.
Yeah, because in this field, like you said, look, anything can pop off at any time. Any breaking news, and you have to be ready to catch it. You have to be ready to handle that information, to deliver it to the audience in the way that it needed to be delivered. So yes.
So they stay out.
Like you say, you always have to be ready.
Yeah. But they wait also. You have to wait.
Yeah.
You know.
That kind of reminds me, it's giving me a little flashback of when I was in high school. I went to ETHS, graduated from there. And there was a time when I was on the newspaper team and I was one of the reporters.
Okay.
And so, we had to go around, I had to go around to like different departments and get information and interview like the principal or the dean within the school. And then there are times when news will break out within the school and then we have to write about it and present it because, like you said, you have to be ready at any time, at any place.
That's right.
I think we'll just come up right in the middle of me writing a story. Then I have to like put that to the side and like pay attention to this story and give it the highlight that it needs, and deliver it. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah. So, I get that. That's awesome. Well, there was another question that I had was, what was it? It was, because my thing went off. But I mean, your background is really rich. I really like what you're doing in terms of, TV production. For those who just tuned in, she is a TV producer of, what did you say, Misty?
Mystic Vibe.
Mystic Vibes, yes. And she's spending her time just kind of giving us her background as to what she does day to day, and her background growing up in Jamaica, even though she was born here in the States. Your mom was from Alabama, and again, she would just focus on highlighting the Caribbean culture, which was at the time not really a mainstream, and you felt the need that this culture needed to be highlighted, and you did. And this is what you're doing. This is what you dedicate your time and your life to, and it's a blessing. I thank you for being who you are, and highlighting the culture, because it's so important. Because people have their misconceptions of it. They have their idea of what they think it is, but they don't really know. And it's great that people kind of dive into it and really kind of go into the nitty gritties of it, the culture, the beliefs, the music, the vibes of everything, because with that, we learn more and can appreciate more of the Jamaican culture, Caribbean culture altogether.
That's right.
Yeah.
So as far as collab is concerned, it just brought to mind, I've collabed with different organizations, as far as the media partners. Now, the Urge, Unlimited Sources Giving Enlightenment, is a non-profit organization founded by Ziggy Marley. And I produced a PSA for Urge. So that the public aware this exists or what have you, contact Urge if you're interested in giving back. I've been promoting Urge for a good 15 years now. At the Jamaica Tourist Board, I'm media partners with Jamaica Tourist Board. The Jamaica Tourist Board sent me 3 times.
Wow.
Jamaica on a press trip to spotlight the attractions and the beautiful culture of Jamaica. And then there's another organization based here in the state of Illinois called Jamaica for Life. We call it J4L. And that's an organization made up of Jamaicans living in the Chicagoland area that have fundraising and so forth to give back to the communities in Jamaica, particularly like the hospitals and stuff for seniors.
Yeah.
Plus the lab, I could in the form of being a media partner.
Okay.
And I've also been a media partner for almost all the 30 years to Martin's International Culture, which showcases, which presents the IRAMA International Reggae and World Music Awards every year, and the International Festival of Life, and the Jerk Chicken Seafood Vegan Fest, and the Chicago Music Awards, of which I'm a winner of 2. Chicago Music Awards in the category of Best Music Show.
Okay.
So,
wow, that's awesome. That is great to hear. That sounds like fun. I mean, there's so many things that's happening around here in Chicago that, I'm, with when I was living here the first time, it was high school days. So, I didn't hear and see so many things that was going on. But now coming back, after 20 something years and being more aware, and then social media has blown up. It's like, wow, there's so many things going on around in Chicago.
Yes.
And I would just like to be a part of it. And it sounds like you are a part of it in a big way. That's awesome. It's rich. Here, this is the place to make it. You got Chicago, you got New York, you got the West Coast.
Florida.
And Miami, Florida. I mean, when it comes to like the Caribbean culture, there's so many opportunities to showcase talent. So it's great that again, that you are who you are to help showcase that and like bring it to light. Yeah. Where do you see production taking off in 5 years? Do you see it evolving in any way? Or do you see a trend in how it might evolve in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, well, next year will be 30 years. So in the next 5 years, I want to do more press trips, not just to Jamaica, but different parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
They have a Caribbean community. I like to spread out to like different towns and different cities as far as field production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I throughout the world, but I want to bring that camera out to different parts of the world.
Wow, that'll be awesome. Yeah. So when is your next project? Do you have anything that's coming up that you're working on?
Yeah, well, let me say the next airing of Mystic Vibes is this coming Tuesday, October 15th at 10 p.m. Coming down the pike, we recently interviewed Agent Sasko. He's a very popular, positive reggae dancehall artist.
Okay.
A nice interview coming up around the holidays.
Yeah. Okay. And
around the holidays.
Okay, sweet. And that's going to be streaming through your production.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have to link up because I know we briefly talked about, I'm going to have to link up and tune in so I don't miss it.
And I want you on my show too in the near future.
Look, I'm ready for it.
Right.
I'm ready for it. Whenever you have an opening and we just collaborate and talk, I am open to that.
Okay.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate your consideration.
No problem.
And I am very appreciative of the time that you spent with us tonight and our audience that tuned in for the night. And speaking of audience, I need to hail them up because a few more came in.
Okay.
Let me start from the top and say hello to our people because they're saying hello to us. We have Genuine Connection. Thank you for tuning in. This is us and what we do. Mama Fisher behind the scenes saying hello to you. And let's see, we have Sister Winnie who tuned in. Thank you so much for showing up in our chat. We greatly appreciate you guys. We have my aunt Inez Brown in Florida who tuned in. She said, sounds great. We have Richard Campbell, which is Wild Rich Unstoppable Entertainment right in Jamaica, the heart of Jamaica. Thank you for tuning in tonight.
Okay.
Great. I know, right? He's one of those. He's right in Jamaica. He's also, I would say in the music scene.
Okay, well, you know what? All right. So go to Mystic Vibes TV, the group page on Facebook.
Okay.
Either inbox me, Zazelle McKenzie, and let me know whatever music or whatever project you have. Clean.
Mm-hmm. And, yep. He does a lot of clean music.
Clean.
Yep. Definitely. And you hear that, Wild Rich? I know he's hearing it, so he'll tune in and maybe answer the question. Yeah, that's all, and that's all we deal with around here is just positive vibes. And it's a family friendly, show, and it sounds like you're in the same lines of that because we need more of that today in a world where we have a lot of negative messages and vibes. We need more positivity. Look, back in the days, the 80s, 90s, really, 80s and 90s, that was a time where you had a lot of empowering music that played, that empowered you to do great things. And as time went on, it just kind of warped into something, and it's hard sometimes now to even find that positive music, with all those positive messages like back in the day. It's rare. It's almost rare now. So, we hope that, with, people like you and us, that we could kind of go back to those days and just kind of highlight those good moments and good feel music that, encourage us to do well. I mean, there's still artists out there that are promoting, so it's not like they're gone, but, we need more of it back.
That's
I remember when Buju came out, when he was released, and just the music that he produced. I was like, you go ahead, Buju. You know, positive vibes again. You know, that's definitely greatly
He's been on the
appreciated.
show.
Oh, he has?
Let me get a rundown.
Okay, yeah, you need
The
to tell us.
Marley,
You need to tell us who it is that you're
okay,
working with.
The Marley,
Uh-huh.
Pinky, Damien, Julian, Stephen, Kimani, Third
Nice.
World, Still Pulse, Marty Spear, Luciano, Darius Hammond, Toots Hibbert,
Nice.
Bunny Whaler,
Mm-hmm.
Busy Signal,
What?
Winford Williams. And that's
Uh-huh.
just on the top of my head that I'm calling these artists. Dwayne
Wow.
Stevenson, Judy Moore, and Marcia Griffith, Etana, Queen Africa,
I love
Tony
it, Tana.
Osborne.
Mm-hmm.
30 years of beautiful reggae music and beautiful artists.
That is
So
beautiful.
come on the show and be a part of this roster of reggae greats.
Yes.
Show.
All of those names you named, all of the people that I love to
I can't
listen
even
to.
think of.
No, but you're just that alone, that's a
Prime
heavy
Minister of
plate.
Jamaica, Bruce Golding, and he was Prime Minister. The former Prime Minister of Belize, Barrow. Somebody else I'm thinking too. Just so many.
Man.
So many have been on the show, really.
Wow. So now it's my job and duty to lock in and like start reviewing, doing my research now. You know, of your station. I definitely need to like you said, you mentioned all those people because again, you know, we just met from the Jamaican festival, Jamaica Day in August, in Chicago, and we briefly talked, and I think we just recently just kind of got reconnected you with my mom, and then you know to make this happen. So there's a lot of me having to like know about you, and you told us a lot already. And I mean, just your experience so far is very rich. So now I got to do some more research now.
Now you know KNTV, we are independent producers. We are not employees of KNTV.
Okay.
So all of this research, you on your own, baby.
Mm-hmm.
They don't fire you. You're independent producer. KNTV provides the training and facilitates the facilities.
Okay.
That's why they don't. You're not an employee at KNTV.
Okay.
You know, there's rules and regulations you must abide by.
Okay.
But you know, your show, you do all the work.
Okay. That sounds good.
You do all the work. You follow through the guidelines of KNTV, then you're good.
Okay. Cool. Now, for my friend Richard Campbell, our Wild Rich Unstoppable Entertainment, I know you mentioned that, you know, you like to promote like good reggae, clean reggae. And I think he had stepped away. He said to make you repeat, because I guess he kind of missed what you said about, you know, you're all about producing linking up with people who want to produce good, clean reggae music. What did you say about that again? You said something about,
I do not, you know, as far as when I mean clean, I don't not sexual lyrics, you know, none of that.
Right.
The slackness, no slackness. Simple.
Right.
There's room for love songs.
You
know, the love songs are, you know.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not doing slackness. I don't care.
Right.
How trendy it is.
All right. Look, I hear you with that, and I agree. I'm totally with that. I'm all with the positive vibes, all of them good 90s reggae filled with messages. I love Luciano. I went to his concert this year
He's been
in
on
Chicago.
The show.
Huh?
He's been on the show.
Yeah, I know you mentioned him. Yep. Yeah, and I listened to his music as a kid growing up. And when I heard he was coming to Chicago, I was like, "Oh, I got to go." And it's close by, so I went. I enjoyed my time. It was awesome. I put a few clips on our channel too. I had a great time there. Yeah, and then I think it was it Dame the Marley Brothers? They came to Chicago as well this summer or whenever it was, and I went to
couple of
their
weeks
concert.
ago.
Yeah,
I was there.
who?
I was there. I cut the Marley Brothers tour. I was there when it's in Chicago last
Yeah.
month.
Okay, so you were there. I was there too, and I had a great time. I enjoyed it. I was like, look, this is the first time. This is the closest I can get to the Marleys in a sense, going to a concert.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw, I was like, oh, I got to go, and I went, and I had a great time, and the
Mm-hmm. It was a
vibe was
nice
great.
show. That's right.
Yeah. And growing up in Brooklyn, every summer for Jamaica Independence, we had the parade on Eastern Parkway. That was something that my mom and I would go to every single year.
Mm-hmm.
So like when it comes to the culture, I'm blessed to have parents that didn't hide it.
Exactly.
They was all about the culture as well, because sometimes you're in a household where you have Jamaican parents and no reggae, no nothing at all. Not even the positive, not the positive stuff even. And I was blessed to say that my parents prioritized where they came from and they
That's
shared it
right.
with me. And look, I remember as a kid, my first trip to Jamaica, I was 6 months. I was 6 months old as a babe going to Jamaica, and from then on, it was like every single year. Sometimes it was twice a year, and we would spend not just like a couple of days. We would spend like weeks. Sometimes we'd spend like a good month, like in the summertime when I'm off.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the chance to like climb the trees that my grandmother
right.
lived right by the seaside. So I'll be climbing the get up tree or the sea grape tree. I remember spending like the summer with my grandma while my mom was in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going into the bush to go find her goats, find her cow, and feed the chickens. Like I was really like, in it. And I really appreciate those days.
That's right.
As much as I was a city girl, so to speak, from New York, I appreciate like going to the straight country.
What part of Jamaica?
It was in Westmoreland.
Westmoreland. Okay.
Yeah, that's where my mom's side is, Westmoreland, and my dad is from St. Elizabeth. But as a kid, it was mostly Westmoreland.
Okay.
And my mom grew up in a little district called Salmon Point, and I had family in Little London. And so, I would go straight to the countryside, right by the seaside where my grandmother was.
Okay.
I'll spend the day, and in the evenings, I'll go to my cousin's restaurant in Salmon in Little London, and he will blast his music. He was like one of those tourist spots.
Uh-huh.
So nighttime, it was like music party time. So the daytime, grandma's house, and in the evening, spent time with my cousin. He'd being a DJ. But yeah, I love it, and I'm just thankful that like your dad saw it important for you to understand his culture and his side, and had you in Jamaica going to school, growing up in the culture. My parents did the same thing too as well, in terms of making sure that I know where they came from and they shared it with me. I ride the donkey cart with my grandpa.
Okay.
We would dress, my mom and I and my cousin, we would dress up and we would ride the donkey cart. He's the only one that might have the donkey cart in the district. Everybody wasn't buying their cars, but we didn't care. We ride the back of that thing, and he felt so happy and proud, and we felt happy, that we were doing that. We enjoyed it. So yeah, it's a blessing when you have a culture that is as rich as the Jamaican culture, Caribbean culture put together. Yes. Well, I thank you so much for, again, making the time to come out to our channel and just telling us about what you do. And for those who just, who tuned in and stayed in tune, this is a very special guest. This won't be the last interview. We will definitely link up again, and we will have something more to say at that time. We said a lot, so if you missed it, you got to rewind this thing back. I'll watch it over again.
All
So
right.
before we close out, did you have any closing remarks that you wanted to share with us? You know, those who want to tune in to what you do, where can they find you and just stay locked in with you?
This journey has been a blessing. I encourage you reggae artists. I send an email. But to
Mm-hmm.
the PR people, this is a serious thing. This is a serious TV show that's been on the air for almost 30 years. And it's
Wow.
currently, live streaming during its scheduled air date and time. The show is Mystic Vibes. Google Mystic Vibes TV. And you see segments, little interviews on YouTube. Like
Mm-hmm.
the Mystic Vibes TV Facebook group. That's where you can find out episode updates, more videos, and air dates and times. The next Mystic Vibes show will air this coming Tuesday, October 15th, 2004, at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Local viewers in Chicago, tune into CAN TV, cable channel 19. Worldwide viewers, you can watch via live stream. Go to www.cantv.org, click on watch, then click on channel 19.
Mm-hmm.
Have it.
Sweet. And just know that all the information or the links that she mentioned, I will work on putting it in the description box so that when people come back
And
and
my
rewatch
email,
this
put my
live,
email.
yes, they will have those contact information in the description box that they could just either click on, copy and paste where they need it to be so they can stay in tune. So we'll definitely work on that when the live goes off, and I'll just make sure to put that in the description box for those who are interested in staying linked up with Ms. Giselle and Mystic Vibes. All right, well, without further ado, thank you one more again. And usually, what I like to do is, as I, start the program, I like to open up with prayer. But when we close, I like to close with prayer as well. So if you don't mind, I can close off with a little prayer
Sure.
before we head out our own way. All right, dear Heavenly Father, we just want to give you thanks and praise for allowing us to showcase our dear sister, dear God. We ask that people who have tuned in are inspired once again to do more and greater things with their life. We ask that you may help that they may have gotten a message to be creative, to serve the community in a positive way. We thank you once again for allowing her to come on our show and spending this time to share with us her personal stories, her life stories, her journey when it comes to what she does in TV production. We thank you, thank you, thank you in his name. Amen. Well, thank you once again, and we'll definitely will stay in touch. And look,
say hello to your mom.
I will for sure. She's probably gonna put something in the chat like in 2 seconds, be like, "Hey," but I will. And thank you once again. Appreciate you, and you have a great and wonderful, blessed night.
God bless.
Yes. All right. Always. All right. You take care. And there you have it. Please, if you tuned in and you didn't catch the whole thing, I want you to rewind this interview back and just get more information as to our dear sister that was on tonight. Great positive force within the Chicago area and others. So definitely look back for those links and those contact information in the description box when this live goes out. All right. Thank you once again for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you. And before I leave out, oh yes, I need to give a shout out to all of our silent listeners who tuned in and didn't put anything in the chat, but I appreciate you for tuning in and watching. So I'm going to big up the people who came in tonight. Thank you, Genuine Connection. Appreciate you. Thank you, This Is Us and What We Do, which is Mama Fisher behind the scenes. Thank you, Sister Winnie. Blessings to everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sister Winnie, so much for showing your support in the chat. Auntie Inez Brown, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Appreciate you. Richard Campbell, aka Wild Rich, Unstoppable Entertainment. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you coming on tonight. So yes, we are thankful and we give praise for all of these people who came in tonight. And we hope to see you. We'll definitely see you next week. Next week, and we have another special guest, Mr. Goga. So you don't want to miss that as well. So make sure you tune in for that interview on the Saturday night, the 19th. Just make sure you click that notification button so that you are notified of all the new special guests that are appearing on our show. So without further ado, I will end this stream, and definitely keep a check in the description box. I'll have it done within 24 hours. So see ya, love ya, bye, and remember, you are so royal. You are royalty. Bye.
The family that prays together will stay together. Remember, at the Body's Family YouTube is a rise. When we say like, subscribe. This is us and what we do. What? This is us and what we do. What? This is us and what we do. Hold on, them have name out the crew. Hold on, them Mama Fisher so royal. Meet you bless. Macho Man Blaze and Little Princess. This is YouTube channel are the best. Yes, YouTube channel are the best. Remember, we play together, vacate together, every day together. Come and watch we play together. Like, subscribe. Remember, you're not gonna top laugh till your belly hurt you. Again, hey, this is us and what we do. What? This is us and what me say sometimes. Me say, oh God. Me I wonder which one of them have sense. I don't know. Alright, sit down and watch that episode. Remember, like, subscribe, and we need to hear from you. Leave a comment. We are encourage every other family to do what we are doing too. We family happy. The family that prays together will stay together. Remember, at the Body's Family YouTube is a rise. When we say like, subscribe. This is us and what we do. What? This is us and what we do. What? This is us and what we do. Hold on, them have name out the crew. Hold on, them Mama Fisher so royal. Meet you bless. Macho Man Blaze and Little Princess. This is YouTube channel are the best. Yes, YouTube channel are the best. Remember, we play together, vacate together, every day together. Come and watch we play together. Like, subscribe. Remember, you're not gonna